Hi everyone, I'm Aradhita, and before we start this video, I'll just give a brief background about myself. I've done my MBBS from St. GS Medical College and KM Hospital in Mumbai, and I'm from the 2016 batch, so I graduated just last year. And after that, I gave my MBA entrance exam, which is CAT 2022, and this year I have secured admission into the 2-year full-time MBA program at IIM Ahmedabad. So this is just a brief video about my journey and why I decided to do an MBA and how I went about the whole process. So let's start with the first question that I'm going to address today, which is the scope of MBA after medicine. So there's a lot of things. Of course, hospital administration and healthcare management are the things which is managerial roles in the healthcare setup is the most commonly known thing, but also you could work in a pharmaceutical company, you could go on into consultancy or venture capital, which could be healthcare, non-healthcare related. And then of course you could go for other traditional roles in finance, marketing, or any other thing which is completely switching away from what we've studied in medicine. That is also possible. And the last thing is entrepreneurship, which there's no hard and fast rule that you need an MBA for that, so you could do it after an MBA or without. There is a very good link that I had found actually, which addresses all of these things in a lot more detail and actually gives a lot of other things which are available for us to do from when we switch from medicine to MBA. So I will just leave that in the description below. So the next question that I think I have been asked is the MBA versus hospital administration. Which degree is better? What should I pursue? So I think for me, the decision to do an MBA and not a hospital administration degree was one based on the fact that the hospital administration is not something which aligns with my long-term career plans and goals. And the other thing was that I didn't want to restrict myself to healthcare. I wanted to gain a broader perspective about other industries and how they function too. So I felt like an MBA was the right option for me. Apart from that, I think you also don't get restricted just to the healthcare field. You have a lot more options open for you post an MBA, even work-wise. So of course, if you are somebody who is very passionate about moving into specifically management in a hospital setup, then this degree could make sense for you. I haven't done a lot of research about it, but I do know that there are some IIMs which offer such degrees, and I think there is a course at AIIMS Delhi and Manipal hospitals. So I think you all could read up a little bit about that, and if I find a link about this, I will try to put it down in the description. So next, let's move on to CAT preparation. So CAT is the common admission test, which is basically the entrance exam to get admission into many of the MBA colleges in the country, particularly the IIMs. I gave CAT 2022 and this was my first attempt, and I got a 98.94 percentile. So when did I start preparation? I started around end of June or beginning of July, and I got around 5 months to prepare for CAT because it happens in the last week of November. I did struggle a bit because I think I started quite late. I was very relaxed about doing it initially, and then I realized that it was a lot harder than I thought it would be. There are many people who start about a year in advance, and there are people who do it in even shorter time spans. But in my opinion, 8 to 9 months of CAT preparation would be good. And of course, it's person dependent. So if you are looking to give CAT this year, I would say you should start as soon as possible if you haven't started yet, and you will hopefully be fine. The next is the coaching classes and the study materials that I use. So I joined IMS and I used only their study materials, and I had a pretty good experience with them, except for a few hiccups here and there. So the resources were enough from IMS. I did not have to refer to any other outside books, and there were enough tests also which were available, so I did not take any other test series. The other coaching classes which are available also might be good. It's just that I started so late, so I didn't have a lot of time to research about the other classes, and I knew a few people who had used IMS before and had given pretty good reviews about it to me, so I just went ahead with that. That being said, there are a lot of people who do CAT preparation without any coaching classes on their own, and there are a lot of resources which are available online for free as well on YouTube and there are other books which are available like Arun Sharma books. So you could use that and manage if that's something you're comfortable and confident about. Moving on to my preparation strategy for CAT. So for all the people who don't know a lot about this exam, it has 3 sections. The first is verbal ability and reading comprehension, which is English. The second is data interpretation and logical reasoning. And the third is quantitative ability, which is mathematics. It's a 2-hour computer-based test and we get 40 minutes to solve each section. So the preparation strategy is basically, for me, I used to divide it into 2 parts. The first was understanding what subject was my strength and my weakness, and also what topics I needed to give more weightage to. So for me, my strength was the English section, so I did not give a lot of effort or a lot of time to that because I knew that it was much easier for me to manage with. But I struggled quite a bit with maths, so I used to really practice a lot of maths and like work on my weaknesses which were there even in the maths section. The second thing was that I knew that there are certain topics which are given more weightage. For example, arithmetic is given more weightage in the quantitative section, so I knew that this at least I need to be thorough with. And there are a few other things which exist like this, and I would be happy to help you with all of those if you write to me. The second is the test giving strategy. So it is a time-based test, and so you need to have a solid plan of how you're going to attempt those 2 hours when you go in for the paper. And the thing which I did for that was first give as many tests as I could. So as you know, I started really late, but as soon as I started giving tests, I used to give 1 test a week, then eventually 2 tests a week, and for the last 1 month I was giving 3 tests a week, not more than that. And through those tests, my strategy of giving those tests evolved over time. And the second thing was that by analyzing those tests, I could understand what topics I was good at, what topics needed more effort, more time from my side. And the first part of it was connected to my giving tests. I gave around 40 tests in my preparation, and I solved past year papers from 2017 onwards. I did not have enough time to give sectional tests, but there are a lot of people who give those, and it has turned out to be helpful for them. So I think if you are trying for CAT, that could be helpful for you too. So before we move on to the last question, which is the most asked question to me, which is why I decided to do an MBA after MBBS, I just want to clarify 2 things. The first is if I ever gave NEET PG or if I'm planning to give NEET PG in the future, and the answer to both of those questions is no. I did not prepare for NEET PG or ever sat for the exam, and I'm not even planning to give the exam in the future. The second is if an MBA in finance is possible for a doctor or a person from a medical background, and I would say it is, because I did convert my call from SPJIMR in the field of finance. So if I could do it, I don't think there's any doubt that somebody else cannot do it. And now moving on to why I decided to do an MBA. So when I was in MBBS, I came across this particular field or area where I felt drawn to start my own venture in the future. I did not want to go into it as a clinician, more so I wanted to build something in it. And passing out from MBBS, I realized that I am not equipped to do this from the education that I had received previously. The only thing I knew was how to treat patients and deal with patients. And so after much research and speaking to quite a few people, getting guidance, advice, I decided that an MBA was the right track for me to go through. Of course, there is a whole question of, is a degree required for entrepreneurship? So I would say that you can be an entrepreneur with or without an MBA, but for me, intuitively, this felt like the right choice and the right call at this time, and that's why I have chosen to do an MBA. And post an MBA, I hope to work for some time and then obviously go on to build what I have been hoping to build since my MBBS years. And yeah, that's it. This is the video explaining my journey from medicine to MBA now at IIM Ahmedabad. I hope this was helpful, and if you've made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. If you have any other doubts, you can drop in the drop them in the comment section, or you can also message me on Instagram. I will try my best to reply to all of those. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Bye.